Hey guys, it's Colin. Today I wanted to show you something I put on the bike and take it out on the road for you, but it's not looking like that's gonna happen. Look at this lovely snow in Maryland. We don't get too much snow here, but isn't that pretty? Right along the trees. All right, let me show you in the garage what I put on the bike.
I had to shut the garage. It was getting a little bit chilly in here. A couple months back, I did this video about accessories that I wanted to put on during the winter months. And I asked you for your opinions, and the overwhelming opinions on one of these things is what I'm about to show you. I asked about handlebars, and then I asked about suspension. And the majority of people said, go with Legend. So that's what I did. I ended up purchasing the Legend Revo-A suspension. And today I'm gonna show you what it looks like on the bike. So let's take a closer look. Tell you a little backstory before I talk about these on why I wanted to upgrade my suspension in the first place. So this is a 2017 Street Glide Special, and it came with the stock 12-inch Harley shocks that has the preload adjustment on it. And over the first couple of years, I really didn't have a big issue with it. And I'm a big believer in what my friends, my riding friends tell me. And they, were trying to explain, hey, listen, this is gonna make a huge difference if you upgrade your shocks. At one time, I'm like, well, listen, this really isn't that big a deal. I'm okay with it. But then I started riding with my wife more, doing two-up riding and doing more of these long distance trips. And I was starting to feel it more. So just in the last year, I was feeling it was a little bit more jarring on my back. And especially with my wife on it, she was, saying that, it's not the best suspension ever. So those were the reasons why I wanted to upgrade. So my friends sold me on these Legends. They spoke very, very high of them. And obviously that video that I talked about earlier, and getting all the different opinions on it, this was kind of like an overwhelming favorite. So then I went down to my local All-American Harley-Davidson, our local dealership down, which is called All-American, and I talked to Lyndon. And Lyndon's been in a lot of videos of mine. I trust that guy very much. He's never set me wrong. And I just was like, hey man, give me your opinion on these. He says, well, actually, these are what I have on my ride. And he spoke very high of me. He actually talked about several different of the other manufacturers too, Aleen's, the Progressives. He ended up selling me on the front. So I did some upgrades on the front too, just for the sake of today. This is what I'm gonna talk about. I did the Legends on the back, and on the front, I did the Progressive monotubes. And basically what that is got rid of the damper rod forks, and it changes them to those gas-charged monotube fork cartridges. Kind of helps with diving, stability, what shocks normally do. So I ended up getting that, and then I got these. This is a very, very, very simple install. It doesn't take too long at all. Obviously, this isn't on a jack right now, but you raise it up, and there's three things you have to do. The first thing you install the shocks, then you set the sag, and then you do the rebound. And with the Legend Revo-A, which I'm going to talk about in just a second, they have a little rebound adjustment that you can control. But again, this is not going to be a step-by-step install. I'm going to give you a quick overview of it. So once you have it jacked up, you take the OEM bolts. And again, this is a 13-inch model, not the 12-inch like my normal ones were before I changed them out. You take these two out, you put them on. Now there's a couple different things. They have a mount with the, I think it's called the circlip, and that's got to be facing out. The stock OEM ones have this big washer. You don't put that back on. Obviously it's not going to fit. So you get rid of that. And Legend sends you some spacers and stuff that you could put in on the bottom. So once you have them installed, you take the measurement here. Now if it's on the lift, right now you should have 13-inch from center bolt to center bolt down here. But because it's already on the ground, it's probably going to be, I don't know if this is the exact measurement, I can't really see from the angle I'm at, but I believe it's about 12 3/4, give or take. We have to set the sag. And the sag, the optimum sag for that Legend says is 12-inch. You want a 12-inch sag on the 13-inch shock. Now, if you have a 12-inch Legend, then you want to have it a 1/2 inch, so it should be 11.5. But for the sake of this, you want to have it down to 12. So what you have to do basically is once you sit on it, you measure the center bolt and find out where you are. So mine was probably about 12.5 when I first did it. So to adjust the preload, and this is normal right here, but you twist it, you can twist it, I believe, let's see, counterclockwise to tighten it, and then clockwise to loosen it. And then so once you set that, you kind of get a point how many turns you did. You do that on both sides. You're obviously going to need a second set of hands to do this, but once you get on it, you want to be able to measure 12 inches from center bolt to center bolt. and that's going to be the optimum sag for these shocks. And no matter what you do, so like if you're loading up, two up passenger, or you're putting more weight on it, you want to get it set to that 12-inch. So it's still going to ride the same, regardless if you have a second person or if you're just riding one up. But you ultimately want to have that 12-inch sag. So that's the way these are set up right now. When I sit on it, they're 12 inches right on the dot. Now, if I do 2-up riding, I'm going to have to adjust both sides and get it set up. So I ride solo probably 90% of the time, so it's really not going to be a big deal. So when I do long trips with my wife, something like that, I will get on there and adjust it, and then we'll measure it and then be good to go. So let me talk about the last step now, which is the rebound damping. The reason why I went with the Revo-A instead of just the Revo is the A for adjustability. And this controls your rebound damping. And so that controls the speed at which the shock absorber extends after being compressed. And if you have 6 numbers on here, 1 through 6, and right now, well, you can't probably see it, but there's a dot right here, and both sides are set at 3. If you have it at 1, that's going to provide the lowest level of rebound damping, and it softens the shock slightly during compression. 3 is the most common, and 6, it's the highest level of rebound damping, and it really stiffens the shock, and it kind of that sports feel. So a couple of my friends have told me they have 2, the ones that have these shocks, and they're very pleased with it. I only have like 20 miles on this, so I really haven't a chance to play with it. But once the snow clears up, I'm going to get it back out on the road and play with it a little bit and see what the best fit. And once I get that set, and then I'll be happy. First impressions of these and the limited miles that I've put on it, I'm pretty happy with it. I could definitely feel a difference. I'm taller for sure. I mean, I've got raised up a little bit. But very, very smooth ride. I could definitely feel the difference on the front and the back. But I haven't had a chance to really take it hard and get into the corners yet, but I definitely will, and then I'll do some fine-tune adjustment. So hopefully this video was helpful, me sharing some stuff that I put on the bike. Now get out there and ride, be well, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Just give it a minute. Oh no. Oh gosh. Hold on.
She definitely has my DNA.